space you should have in that flight suit. By the way, that's an FPC answer, CFRN question, 1/4 inch in your flight suit, right? So hold on to that right there, okay? And that's not gonna move anywhere. You're not gonna go anywhere. You're able to get out. Does that make sense? What were you holding on to, John? And you're holding on to it across your body. So reference point is the way you're going out is what you're gonna do. So don't hold on to anything other than yourself. Does that make sense? We used to teach hold on to the chair. Now the problem is about 3 years ago, the FAA standards to those actually became, so these things collapse a lot easier than they did before. So you've ever noticed don't store anything under the chair that says it on there, because they want that thing to collapse. So that absorbs the impact, not your back. Does that make sense? So we started moving away from this because now we were teaching you to hold on to something that could actually injure you. Does that make sense? So that's when we started doing this thing right here, holding on to your actual reference point. Cool? Questions about that? So you get the Mayday call. Here's this. You're going to hold on to this right here. The next thing you're going to do is take a deep breath and start counting to 2 seconds. 1, 2, or 1001, 1002, however you want to do it. Give yourself that 2 count. That's the time that let the movement of this thing settle. Does that make sense? If you start moving too soon, you're still not in the position to get out. Does that make sense? So let that movement settle. Grab the very top of your head. And when you grab the top of your head here, you're not going to pat your way back. You're going to just keep your hand, keep that contact, and find that cord. You with me? Find that cord. You're going to find that cord and you're going to run your hand to where? Wherever's connected, right? So when you connect it to that box, how did you do it, Jesse? When you connect to the box, what do you do? When you disconnect, what do you do? What are you using? 2 hands. Man, I couldn't sleep at night thinking about that. People doing this 2-hand thing. Because the United States Coast Guard teaches you 7 steps of egress. You heard that right, 7. That means that's a lot more steps than 3. And one of the steps is to actually let go, disconnect, and reestablish your reference point. That's not happening. Does that make sense? That's not happening. So you get to this cord right here where it's connected. The next thing I'm teaching you to do is what? Pull it. You can actually finger it off if you wanted it to, where my attorney says not to use that anymore, but you can finger that thing off if you want to, right? You can pull it off right here. If it's connected to you, you can disconnect it. But you have full control of it. Does that make sense? And look, I'm still not letting go of this. And once that's done, let it go. Does that make sense? Next step, you're grabbing here, the inside of your leg. Grab your knee and grow inside. And you want to, again, just like I did this contact thing here, I know my belt buckle isn't here, but I want you to have a point of reference. So you're going to go on the inside of your leg. We tell everybody this could be it, so take your time, make it feel good, okay? And find the buckle. Does that make sense? So if your buckle's here in the middle, you're going to go here, okay? If not, you're doing this thing right here, right? This thing right here. But you're finding that waist strap and running yourself to where that disconnection is going to be. Are you with me? So here, and if you don't find it when you get here, guess what? You go back here and take your time, because your buckle is going to be between the seat and where God intended your nipples to be. Does that make sense? It's not going to be all the way up here. It's going to be right in here somewhere. Does that make sense? Okay, so here. Once you have that buckle, here we've extended this. The cool thing about this is that your diver basically has this in his hand the whole time. As soon as you're flipped over, this is the thing that they're looking for, and they're grabbing onto this. Once you get here, you basically are going to take this out of his hand. Does that make sense? But you're looking for the buckle, not this. Once you have this here, you're going to pull straight forward. You with me? Now for the people that have been flying, you've been in those seat belts where you undo the middle. So like Air Care 3, facing the back. What? You're still in the what? You're still in the seatbelt. Does that make sense? It's undone, but you're still in it. So when you go to reach out of the aircraft, guess what you're going to feel? That you're still in the belt. Don't worry. Don't let go of your reference point. Just bring your hand back. Okay? Now I'm out of the belt. You see what I'm saying? And now that I have positive control of something else, I'm just going to come out of it. Does that make sense? And you're hand over hand out. You're going to hand over hand out. You're not going to kick your way out of this. If you're not using your hands underwater, you're using your legs to get out. Now, that's a problem if you have somebody sitting next to you, which you will have somebody at some point today sitting next to you. But the other problem is this. If you're kicking, when you're doing this, guess what? Any wire, cords, O2 tubing, the million ratchet straps that people put down to hold on to, the million bags that we carry in there are gonna do what? Be wrapped around your legs. Does that make sense? So hand over hand out, okay? So that way you know you're not getting stuck on anything as you're coming out of the cab.